Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to another session from ClientJoy. Today we have Yash with us, who is chief at ClientJoy, and he's going to discuss with us lead generation hacks for agencies. Hi Yash, how are you?
Hey, Sahil, I'm doing fine, and thank you for introducing me as chief. Chief of what? Chief.
I think you are chief of everything which we have at ClientJoy. That is why I
Yeah,
stopped at chief.
awesome, great introduction here. So for guys, I have an introduction for myself in the talk that I've prepared for you guys. However, thanks Sahil for that introduction as well.
Okay. Guys, today we are going to discuss about leads. Okay. And I think a lot of people know what leads are, but then majorly most of the people, the bug stops. Okay. Then they have the problem of how to generate more leads. Okay. And I think Yash has been through a lot of processes in last 6 7 years of his existence into the businesses. And I think he has done a lot of things himself. And today we have a chance to go through those. So over to you, Yash.
Awesome, man. So thanks, Sahil. Thanks for that. And so basically, so firstly, I'd like to address that. I've done. I mean, as client joy, we've done about 4 lives up until this point, and I've been a part of 2. And one of the most consistent request was that my audio was not clear, and so here's what I've done about it. Hope this works well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Just let me know when you are able to see my screen, Sahil. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, I am. So
Okay, awesome. Sure. You were saying something?
no, I think
Okay,
people will be able to see your screen also.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm here today to talk to you about some of the hacks that we have discovered over the past, 5 to 6 years of our existence as an IT agency. And so before that, I wanted to give you guys a quick introduction so that everything that I'm about to say can be taken into that context. I'm a mechanical engineer by education. I worked as an investment banker. Currently, as Sahil also pointed out, I'm chief at ClientJoy. And this presentation has been written from our experiences, as an agency, coupled with some amount of research by the team that is working on ClientJoy. And it's also important to note over here that this presentation talks about generation of sales qualified leads, right? And not necessarily about marketing qualified leads. I should also add that as in when, if and when you have any questions about this conversation or this presentation or anything that I'm saying, do write those in comments below, and both me and Sahil will take it up while we are live as well. Before I begin, I just want to give you guys a quick overview as well of what we are going to look through today. So the first thing is answering the question: do you need more leads? And then we'll move on to what are the things that you should have or should know before you start generating leads. We'll look at some basic lead gen activities, some key hacks, the super hack, and then we'll go into questions if there are any. And Sahil, at any point of time, I'm just freeballing over here, and the presentation
Yeah.
is there, which will help me, kind of just organize my thoughts. So at any point of time, if there's any question that you have or someone asks, just interrupt me, and we can talk about that as well. Yeah.
Sure, Yash.
So the first thing that we want to talk about is do we even need more leads, right? And the intuitive answer is always yes, right? So everyone wants more leads. However, that may not be true, right? Most of the agencies that are out there, they are limited by their resources, right, and not by the size of the market, right? And more leads in any sales pipeline means that more resources are going into qualification of those leads. More time is spent into scoping the work. More time is spent into documentation, negotiation, getting on calls with them, and everything that goes around in that sales process, right? It's important to be mindful to strike a balance in terms of how many leads are you creating, right, or how many leads are you generating. So while everyone thinks that lead generation is I mean, the answer is always yes. Do we need more leads? It's important to remember that as agencies, we are limited by our resources, which is the number of people who are working with us, who can offer those services, and not necessarily by the size of the market, right? Now, once we are mindful of this, and if the answer is yes, then I'd like to talk about three key things that are important for you to have before you start generating leads, right? It's important to be prepared. And these are the three key things, right? Ensuring that all the requisite processes are in place, making sure that all the assets are available in all the formats, and making sure that all the people in sales have clarity, right? These are the three key things that you need to have before you start generating leads. And it's important to remember that while you may have thought about them, most of the people, most of the agency owners out there, including us for the first couple of years, are involved into operations of the agency and not necessarily into sales of the agency. And hence, people do not end up actually creating the assets, creating the processes, and offering the clarity to people or salespeople involved as much as they should. And so going into the first, which is having processes in place, right? One of the things that I do is we use draw.io or miro.com for creating workflows, right? And so we create user journeys of how a lead will flow from one step to the other, right? And what are the things that they will get to know at each and every step, right? So as an example, if there's a lead who visits your website, then looks at your case studies, then looks at your testimonials, then reaches out to you, then what are the talking points in the first call? Do you have any sales framework to qualify that lead? One of the most used framework is BANT framework, which is just figuring out the budget, authority, need, and time. Do you have those processes in place or not? And once you have all of those processes, it's also important to remember that these process documents are living documents, right? So they should not be set in stone. So as and when you come across a particular node on that process or a particular step on that process that is not as efficient as you would like it to be, it's important to keep on iterating. So a good practice maybe where you could look at the process every 3 months and review it, right, in terms of how has it been working. The second prerequisite is creating assets, right? So once you've created the process, you know that at each and every step of the sales process that you've created, what are some of the key questions that your potential leads could have. They may not ask you yet, they may not have discussed about those things with you, but what are the things that you believe that they would have in terms of questions at those nodes. And you need to have assets created to answer those questions before they come up, right? One of the things that happens is that if you know how your buyer journey looks like, you can tweak the journey to be much more relatable to your customers, right? So understanding what questions that they'll have at each steps, and then creating separate assets, much like testimonials, separate pitch decks, case studies, whatever the case may be, is one of those important prerequisites. And the third prerequisite, and this is something that I've seen people do it incorrectly over and over again, right, is giving clarity to the team, right? This may sound like, again, this may sound like over preparing, but it is super important. You need to have an internal knowledge base, and that knowledge base has to be updated with significant amount of discipline. Your sales team should never be left without an answer, right? They should know each and every interaction that you are having with potential customers or potential leads, and what are the things that you have learned. And you can ask all of those salespeople to put in and contribute to that knowledge base, right? And that's how over a period of time you'll actually build a proper sales playbook. So here are the three key requisites. One is giving clarity. Another is to have assets in place. And third is to have processes in place, right? Now, let's come to the things that we are not going to talk about in this presentation, right? So I'll just address those over here. So some basic hacks are obviously cold calling, having social media pages, running paid ads, using your existing customers for referrals, writing content, which generates content around questions that your potential customers have, sending out mass emails, and attending events and networking with the community, right? These are some of not even these are not even hacks, right? They're just ways in which most of the agencies and most of the companies, they acquire their leads. So we are not actually going to talk in detail about any of these because these are fairly simple and straightforward. uh, we're actually going to talk about these six things, right? These are some of the hacks that you can actually apply to all the channels that were mentioned on the previous slide, right? And these are, so one is, you want to look for channels that are offering you disproportionate growth. Second is, in your sector you want to become a thought leader. Third is, offer some or the other small service for free on your website. Fourth is, cold call not just your potential leads but also potential partners as well, right? Fifth is implementing automation in your organization, and sixth is look at long term view, right? And so let's dive deep into each one of those. So first is looking at channels that are actually offering you disproportionate growth, right? One of the things that have worked for us as an agency is that, finding partners who serve our target market, right? So identify other agencies who offer different services than you, but they serve to the same target market as yours, and then partner up with them. So I'll give you an example. So when we used to be an IT agency, we knew that if there is a customer who's coming to us for developing their iOS mobile app or Android mobile app or anything to that effect, I know for a fact that they are going to need digital marketing services. They are going to need a freelancer who can do an animated video for them. They're going to need a WordPress engineer to do a website for them, right? We already knew that these some of the things that they would require. And so what we do is we'd go ahead and partner with all of these companies as well, and it's a fairly simple quid pro quo kind of a partnership where, we get you clients, you get us clients, and that actually offers disproportionate growth, right? The second is that you want to position yourself as thought leader, right? And you can actually look at this exercise, right? The one that I'm doing right here is actually our attempt at positioning ourselves as thought leaders, right? Making sure that our blogs, our social media pages, our presentation, whatever it is that we write, they position you as a thought leader in that particular space. So identify a fairly small niche and then position yourself as a thought leader. Another way that we've also discovered recently going around this is that instead of just you yourself producing the content, doing all the research, writing and designing all the ebooks, writing research papers, and all of those things, one of the things that has also worked for us is actually collaborating with existing thought leaders, and then inviting them on your show, right? Inviting them on your own blog, or inviting them to contribute and on a live webinar or whatever the case may be. And that also, if you do it consistently enough, helps in positioning you as a thought leader as well. And the third is no one can say no to things that are being offered for free. This is something that worked out for us really well. We'd start with offering a 30-minute or a 1 hour free consultation call, and genuinely we would not ask for any money, we would not ask for any favors, we would not ask for anything. It would just be something that we did to help the community. And so we do those free offerings to potential leads and to clients, where they could come onto our website and then book a 30-minute or a 1 hour consultation call. I've seen a lot of digital marketing agencies also offering, an SEO audit for free. I've seen a lot of design agencies offering a website design audit for free. We ourselves, at a point of time, were offering a hosting audit or a server audit for free, or an architecture audit for free, right? And so those are some of the things that actually are a good building block of a relationship. Because what ends up happening is that, let's say, as a design agency, if I'm offering, or let's say as a digital marketing agency, if I'm offering them an audit, it's not going to be something that, it's not going to be like a coupon, right? I'm going to have to get on a call with them, and then I'm going to have to ask for some amount of credentials, like something to their, like their Google Analytics or their Hotjar, or whatever it is that they're using, basis which I will actually give them the audit. And all of those conversations are actually opportunities for you to do a sales pitch in a subtle way, right? So instead of looking at free offerings as the amount of time that you're spending, you may want to look at it as the amount of time that you're investing, so that you can actually build a sales pitch to, or show a sales pitch, or give or deliver a sales pitch to your client, or potential client, without actually making them feel like it's a sales pitch. Yeah. The fourth is identifying and finding partners, right? And so find folks who are open to selling, or who are open to finding customers for you, right? There are a significant amount of agencies who are out there, who will actually do cold calling on your behalf, right? You'll need to train their salespeople. You'll need to make them understand what are the offerings that you have. But once you do that, they'll work with you on a success fee, or a commission basis, right? Where they get paid only if you get paid. Identify those kind of partners and work with them, right? The fifth one is I genuinely recommend you to bring in automation, right? Integrate each and every tool that you're using. Make sure that your sales people are not spending time updating the CRM or filling out the Excel sheet. They're spending their time talking to the customers and identifying their problems and offering solutions to them, right? Or building better, stronger, more robust relationships with them. They should not be spending time in updating 2 3 4 different tools. They should not update the lead information in one tool, and then copy and paste the same information in your proposal tool, and then pass that on in your collaboration tool to your team members. That is not why you have a salesperson. That salesperson's time is talking to the client. Every moment that he spends updating the software is a lost opportunity for you, right? The last hack that I want to share with you is I want you guys to look at taking a long term view, right? This is the one that has worked really well for us, which is where we offer partnership to our clients, right? So in order to offer our services at cost, right, this means, what this means is that there's significant investment from both sides. It shows that you are in it for a long term, or a long haul, and also shows that the client believes in your quality of service, that they are willing to part away with some amount of their equity that they have, right? And so you may want to take a long term view at how you deal with your potential leads, or your partners, or your clients as your partners as well. um, the last but least is the super hack, and it's important to remember that it is not about your offerings, right? We've seen this hundreds of thousands of times, where you go to websites, and the website would say that, we offer SEO, or we offer, Magento developer, or e-commerce website, or we offer, web and graphic design, or whatever the case may be. The problem with that is the we offer bit, right? It's important to know that you are not, it's not about your offerings. You are not there to sell your offerings. You are there to solve your customer's problem. So your website, your pitch deck, all of your assets, anything and everything that you do has to revolve around the customer's problems, right? Even as of now, if you head over to clientjoy.io, we don't say that we are a client lifecycle management software for agencies or freelancers. That's what we are, but we don't say that. We say that we help you serve your clients like a Fortune 500 agency. We understand your pain, right? And your problems are here to be solved, right? So identify what are the metrics that your customers actually measure and are valuable to them, and then help them reach there. That's the key to your positioning as well. And the last thing is to figure out that which channel is working out best for you, right? So in this presentation we've spoken about three things that you need to be ready with before you start your lead generation exercises. We've spoken about 6 of the hacks that have worked for us across 7 different channels. But if you do all of those things at once, then I know for a fact that it's going to fail. You need to identify what are the 2 or 3 channels that are working well for you, and then just double down on that, right? You don't need to have all 6 social media accounts. You don't need to be doing search engine marketing as well as holding or newspaper advertisements, or and at the same time doing cold calling, and at the same time doing investing into writing blogs. You don't need to be doing all of those things, because as I said in the second slide, you are actually restricted by your resources, right? You don't Your sales is restricted by the number of people that you have. And so you only need 1 or 2 or at best 3 channels for you to work. You don't need more than that. And so identify what are those top 3 channels for you, and then double down on those, right? Here's a fun fact that I want to share with you. Our technology agency, even as of now, does not have a website. We are a 55 people team. We've built over 30 products. We've served startups, social media, organizations, small and medium businesses, and even large organizations, multinational organizations. We still do not have a website. We just have a pitch deck, and that's pretty much it. And that works out best for us. By the way, I'm not recommending that you don't have a website for yourself as well.
I
I'm
was
saying
just going to question that.
that is, yeah. So I'm not recommending that you don't have a website for yourself. But my point is that you don't need to be everywhere, right? You identify a couple of channels. For us, referrals works well. 100% of our business comes from referrals, right? And that's been working out really well for us. And again, we have more work than we can handle as of now, and that's pretty much it. Would love to take up any questions that are there. These are our social media handles in case if you are interested in checking out what we've been up to. Do join us there as well.
Thanks a lot, Yash, for your time and efforts in sharing these things. I had a question in the starting part, but I did not
Sure.
want to interrupt you. So you told about Draw.io and Miro. So which of the
Yeah.
tools you use currently, and are these tools free or are they paid?
So Draw.io is completely for free. And Miro has a paid version, but you can use it. I mean, the free version allows you to do everything that you need to actually. And so that's what we use to document and create and iterate on our processes. And then we've got a host of other tools as well, but this is what we use mostly for creating and managing and internal processes.
Okay. So as you said that a lot of people have problems with the number of resources that we have. And as
Yeah,
a agency owner, most of the times your fight is only till the end of that day. You have to just
correct,
survive that day so that next day you can get up and then start
correct,
working.
correct.
So in that scenario, what would you suggest? How would somebody think about processes or think about the things? Because day in and day out, you are just busy being busy, and you are just busy serving the clients. Every day you wake up, you have four new problems to tackle. You are always
Correct.
firefighting. And
Correct.
how would somebody go and do the things that you have said? What are the simple hacks in implementing these things? What would the first thing that they should do?
So one of the and that used to happen with me as well for the longest time, and I'm not ready to even admit right now that I have solved it, right? But here's an approach that has worked really well for me. So
Okay.
one of the things that I did was I made a list of. I mean, I observed myself for about a month or so, and I made a list of things that I was doing, right? That these are some of the things that I spend the most amount of my time on, most amount of my energy on, and then figured out which of these, and basically just sorted them to figure out which of these activity actually creates the most amount of impact on the organization, and then took up the top 20% of those. So let's say if I was doing about 17 odd things in our agency, and out of those 17 odd things, there were top four things that I was doing, which was creating about 80% of the impact that I was doing for the
Okay.
organization or for the agency, right? Just a 20%. I mean, it's a simple 80-20 rule. So
80-20
just
rule.
those,
Yeah.
yeah. So just those 20% of things was generating 80% of the impact, right? And so I said, okay, hey, what if I delegate the other 80% of it? Even if it does not work out well, it's not going to impact my organization as badly because it generates only the other 20% of impact. And even if I lose that 20%, it's okay because I do my 80% so well that it's
Yes.
going to overshadow. So I think this has worked really well as an agency owner. This has worked really well for me to create a list of activities that I do, and then find out what is the top 20% that generates the largest amount of impact.
Great. I think
Yeah,
delegation is something which most of the agency owners need to find and start doing, because most
yeah,
of the times most of the agency owners have a skill set of what they are selling at the end of the
correct,
day. So
correct,
suppose if they are into social media, they know how to run social media, they know how to run campaigns and those kind of things, and then they start doing the same thing again and again. This
correct.
these clients rather than bringing in new.
So I'll tell
Okay.
you, Sahil, what happens, right? They should start doing delegation. Is like saying that I should, as an example, start losing weight. I mean, I know. So here's the problem, right? I know I should lose weight. It's not new information for me. It's just that I'm not able to do it well, right? So the agency
True.
owners know that they need to start delegating. They're just not able to do that well, and and
Understand.
so and so in those cases I think they need to come up with a framework. So what ends up happening is, let's say if you, I mean, you also were an agency owner, right? You
True.
ran
True.
digital marketing agency with Net Savvies, and so what happens more often than not is that, let's say you'll delegate something to me. For sure I will not do it as well as I could have,
True.
or as well as you would have liked me to, right?
True.
And so ultimately, once I do that a couple of times, you are going to say that, hey, Yash, let it be, I'm just going to do it myself. And that's what ends up happening. So the merit actually, or the fruit actually lies in finding out how do you get out of that
Loop.
loop. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
Okay.
want to ask you actually. So given that you also ran a digital marketing agency, what were some of the hacks that you had deployed, apart from the ones that we spoke about? What worked well for you?
I think personal branding worked a lot for us. Other thing
Hmm.
was we had a product called Hungrito, which
Hmm.
used to work as a lead gen for us in a
Okay.
lot of sense,
Okay.
because it was a B2C product, which as a company we were handling. And then we
Hmm.
used to get clients like McDonald's and those kind people coming in. And then we had Chocolate Room also connected with us in
Hmm.
the same way. So
Hmm.
we had a product which used to work as a lead gen for us, and
Correct.
that used to help us a lot. Other part was personal branding always has been something which I have been focusing on for people,
Hmm.
and in the same way I did sessions, I think one thing which events is something which people attend, but then if you get opportunity to speak at those events, then there is 10x more chances of getting in leads.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
do something worthy enough so that you will always get an audience. So if you are running an agency for 3 4 years, you have built your own niche. Start talking about those. So I think that
Yeah.
will generate a lot of new leads.
Sure. And this reminds me. The personal branding bit reminds me. I was actually doing a podcast with an incredible guy. Runs a company in Canada called Automation Wolf, and is into lead generation for
Yes.
organization and agencies. His name Matthew Hunt. And one of the things that he said, kind of stayed with me, which was that people buy from other people who they know, like, and trust, right? And I think that fits beautifully with the bit that you also spoke about personal branding. So
True.
yeah, I mean, awesome.
Okay. So on that note, I will like to thank Yash for his time, and
Thank
thanks a lot everybody who has been with us through this time. Hope you will get some information out of it. And if you like the information that we have shared, and if you would like to see more, do subscribe to the channel if you are watching it on YouTube, or do like our Facebook page if you are watching it on Facebook. Uh, Thanks a lot, everybody. See you all
thank you.
soon.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.